Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, and it is not a good day, I can tell you. It is icy cold. Yesterday we didn't walk because it was raining or pouring rain, but today it has been raining. It's stopped now, so we've just quickly gone out, but windy, cold. Not a good day. Actually, it is a good day to be inside with the fire. So maybe we'll do that later on today. But anyway, on to the boxing. On this day, only the one today, we're going to go back to 1943. And it is a day where two absolute legends of the sport clashed, referring to Sugar Ray Robinson and Henry Armstrong. The fight took place at Madison Square Garden in front of 15,000 fans, and Sugar Ray Robinson got the job done with a unanimous 15-round decision over Henry Armstrong. So after the fight, Armstrong actually announced his retirement, but would return to the ring a year later. So what a fight that would have been. I've never actually seen it. I'm not sure if it's even on YouTube. I doubt it. Did they even have TV back then? Or 1943, I doubt it. So not sure there's footage of it at all, but now I've said that, I might go check it out. But that was Sugar Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong, 1943. And that would have actually been, that was over 10 rounds, by the way, not 15 rounds. It would have been actually in the middle of the war, World War II, which is unusual, because I think I said the other day that all titles were frozen because of World War II, and that probably makes sense considering this was a 10-rounder. So there you go. On this day. All right, on to today's news. Now, first of all, I saw yesterday the box. I'm just looking at BoxRec. The Liam Paro card looks like it's been finalised, and some really welcome additions, or a welcome addition to that card. I'm referring to Jacob NG. I'll get to him in a second, but it's a 5-fight card. Liam Paro, David Papot, or Papit, as we would probably say in Australia, but I think the French say Papot. Liam Wilson with a new opponent, Sandy Tavares Montilla. Brock Jarvis is actually on the card. He's back, a really quick turnaround. He's up against Ken Aitken. Paul Alcuso against Casey Dixon, as we've mentioned in the past, but also, Jacob NG is back against Japanese fighter Ricky Naito. All right, so we'll start with Jacob NG and Ricky Naito. Look, really great to have Jacob NG back, but the one thing that really got my attention here is the fact that the fight is at 154. So if you're not familiar with Jacob NG, he was the Australian, and I think he might have been one of the regional titles as well, lightweight champion. So 135, so he's gone up 19 pounds, which is about, 9 kilos or something like that. So has he sort of taken a leaf out of the book of Brock Jarvis and said, stuff this weight cut stuff, let's just go and put on all the weight we can. I mean, he's a tall lightweight, probably a little bit like Brock Jarvis in some ways, that he's very big for his weight, tall, long reach, everything like that. So, and he probably has got the frame to fill out, but probably a little bit like Brock. Does he lose a lot of his advantages by doing that, by going up to 154? We've seen Brock really struggle at 154 to 160, particularly 160. So does the same happen to Jacob NG? I hope not. I think he'll be okay, but I'm interested to see how he looks and performs at 154. Now, maybe it could just be a comeback fight at 154, and maybe he goes back to 147 or maybe even lighter. I'm not sure, but the main thing is he's back. He hasn't fought since 2022, so it'll be 3 to 3.5 years, I think, since he last fought against Billy Dibb when he was disqualified. If you can remember that fight, I think they got tangled up and Jacob slammed him to the floor or something like that, and he hurt his back, couldn't continue, and that was it. I mean, I remember at the time thinking, well, it's not really going to derail his career, and it's not like he was getting beaten. I thought he was actually winning the fight at the time. It was just one of those unfortunate things. He got careless. Billy Dibb got injured and he was disqualified, but as I said, not something that should be really derailing his career, but he's back, and I'm interested again to see how he goes, not just also at 154, but also looks like he's going to start stepping the competition up straight away. Not that Ricky Nato's any world-beating fighter, but he's been in the ring with some good fighters. I think did he fight John Manuel at one stage, I think. Been experienced. He's been around a long time. His record actually is 25-4, so he is capable. Jacob NG 15-1. So yeah, looking to see what Jacob NG can do there. Oh, sorry, that's what I was going to say. I just want to see how he goes about it. One, how he carries the weight, but also if they're going to start stepping him up, just how he's going to go at sort of the fringes of world level. I've always thought he's a very, very good fighter who could do some good things, but was really at a domestic level. So this will be, I suppose, straight out the gates for his comeback to see how he goes at international level against Ricky Nato, who's, again, very experienced. The other one, Paulo Alcuso, Casey Dixon. I think I've sort of spoken about that one. Casey Dixon, look, he's American. He looks the part. He's got an impressive record. I think he's 6-0, 5 knockouts, I think he is. 6-0, 5 knockouts. So look, I'm sure they'll show the highlight reel knockouts of his as well. He comes to bang. I just think he's somewhat limited, and I think Paulo Alcuso with his sharp shooting and everything should be able to pinpoint him off. I'm not sure he'll stop Casey Dixon, but I would imagine, what is it, over 8 rounds? I would imagine that Paulo Alcuso will get a really hard fought but one-sided decision win in that one. Big things I hope for Paulo Alcuso. He's a very, very good fighter. I'm just hoping he can stay on the straight and narrow, keep dedicated to the sport, keep disciplined, train hard, and I reckon he could be a world champion, no problems. All right, so the other one's been added. So Brock Jarvis, Ken Aitken. So Brock Jarvis 23-2, just coming off that win what was it, a couple of weeks ago. Ken Aitken 11-2. He last fought against Hunter Ione. Now, that was a first round stoppage. That fight, I won't go to it now, I've got to change pages, but looked impressive in that. But Hunter Ione, I think, had lost like 10 fights in a row or something like that. And I think predominantly he's been a welterweight, Ken Aitken. Now, look, I'm not quite sure. I've had a few people message me about the backing up so quick. I could probably understand why he's doing that. He didn't really get much out of the last fight against Sam Beck. So maybe he just wants to back up really quick, keep busy. He used to fight very, very regularly, did Brock Jarvis early in his career. He was very active. So maybe that's what he's trying to get back to. But yeah, as I said, Ken Aitken has been predominantly more of a welterweight, but maybe this will be a catchweight, I'm not sure, because Brock did say he was going to fight at 154 going forward. But look, I'll be honest, even though Ken Aitken, he's capable, I'm not sure whether he's going to really give Brock Jarvis any more of a fight than what Sam Beck did. Let's hope so. He's a good young kid, 11-2. What's he doing over there? Neil over there. Sniffing over there. All right. But yeah, look, the one good thing to come out of it, regardless of what sort of fight Brock gets, I think it's still good for him to keep active. But the thing is, it doesn't, if this is the case, what's this, September 18th, it doesn't really then bode well for Brock then backing up to fight Nikita in October or November, or does it? Maybe they think this is going to be a pretty one-sided blowout, as well as the Sam Beck fight was. So maybe they're looking, well, not that that was one-sided, he'd struggle, but maybe that's what they're looking at. If it doesn't go that long, what's it, September 18th, if they're looking for maybe a December fight for Nikita, or late November, what's that, 2.5 to 3 months turnaround. So maybe it's possible. But when I first saw it, I thought, geez, that sort of takes off the table, Brock versus Nikita. But we will see. Good on Ken Aitken, by the way, for taking this fight. I think it's a big jump for him. Even though Brock has had his issues lately, I still think it's a big step for him. But credit to him for jumping in there with someone like Brock. And then we've got Sandy Tavares Montilla. Now, I watched a bit of him last night. He's the one fighting Liam Wilson. He's from somewhere in Africa, from memory, or Dominican Republic. Yeah, I did watch a bit of him last night on YouTube. He's a battler. There's no doubt about that. He looks tough, though. He looks tough, but let's just say he's a very limited fighter. I'm not saying he's anywhere near what we saw last week on No Limit Show. He's capable, he's tough, but limited. That's probably what I'll say. And one thing I think he'll give Liam is some good rounds. He's a bit of a, I'm not sure how many knockouts he's actually had. His record's 11-0 with 8 knockouts, but the opposition has been very, very limited. But that's just watching him. Look, Liam Wilson will win this fight, made no mistake about it. But yeah, Sandy Tavares Montilla, tough, hard, capable, but limited, and not. Well, let's just say not good enough to beat Liam Wilson. But this is, again, you've got to look at it for what it is. They're looking for rounds for Liam. He's got world titles on the horizon. Can't take too many risks, so I don't mind the fight. He should get a few rounds, and I think he will probably end up stopping Sandy Montilla in probably 5 or 6 rounds. But again, just keep fighting, keep busy. This is the way they used to do it back in the day. So don't get all horrified if he's not what you think he should be. Because again, this is a bit of a throwback where fighters would fight 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a year, and they'd mix it up with some sort of journeyman club fighters with the good fighters or world-rated fighters, and this is what Liam Wilson's doing. So I've got no problem with the fight, but that is Sandy Tavares Montilla. And then the main event, I think I've already gone over this as well, Liam Paro, David Papo. Tricky fight for Liam. From what I've seen on YouTube from David Papo, as I said, he's going to be tricky. He's a southpaw, fights very much like an amateur. He's not a puncher, which is probably a good thing. 30-0 with only 5 knockouts, but he's in and out. He's got good footwork. He spears that jab out. He's pretty fast. Throws in volume, good movement. And has he got enough to beat Liam Paro? No, but this will be a good fight for Liam. A really good fight for him. I think that he will give Liam some rounds. He's going to take some catching up to. Now, Liam might catch up with him later in the fight, but I think he gives Liam Paro some problems early. I really do. Again, because of that amateur style. No emphasis on power punches at all. He's in, he's out. Unpredictable. He'll lead with the left, he'll lead with the right. Snaps that head back and then comes back and counters you pretty quickly. So, yeah, it's a good fight for Liam. A southpaw as well. So, yeah, I like the fight. And I'm pretty confident in this whole card that we won't see the repeat of last week's, shambles, wasn't it? It was a shocking card. So I've got no doubt from what I've seen so far that this will far exceed that card, especially the main event, especially Liam Paro. I think that'll be a good fight for Liam. So that is the card. A 5-fight card now. What are we, a month out? Or it's only about 3 weeks out, isn't it? 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is. Let's hope it holds together. I'm not sure whether they're going to add any undercard fights to that as well, but I don't mind that fight. What else is happening? We have the rankings. The WBC have elevated. Well, you would, if you check out the rankings on a monthly basis like I do, you would have seen that Boots Ennis, Jaron Boots Ennis, the welterweight champion, former welterweight champion, decided to go to 154, and the WBC said, oh, well, that's good. We'll just put you straight in at number 1. Well, Sergey Bohachuk was actually number 1 before that. Now, he's gone to appeal. He's appealed that decision, and he's actually got his ranking back. So Jaron Ennis has been put back. I'm assuming he's gone back to number 2. They haven't updated the rankings yet, but Sergey Bohachuk has actually won the appeal where he'll be reinstalled as number 1 challenger, and that is the way it should be. Finally, the WBC sort of do something that's correct. They stuffed up, they fixed it, so I actually applaud the WBC in this respect, that they've said, no, you are right, we'll put Bohachuk back in there. Now, does that get him a fight with Fundora? Remember, they were supposed to fight on the Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora first fight. Well, it was going to be Keith Thurman, of course, but that was scrapped, and Brian Mendoza actually stepped in to fight Bohachuk after that happened. So, yeah, a little bit of justice, I suppose, for Sergey Bohachuk. And speaking of Mendoza, come here, buddy. There's a bit of an old kangaroo carcass from about 3 weeks ago still there. Speaking of Mendoza, he's had a comeback fight just recently. Well, he's looking for a shot at Fundora as well, looking to throw himself back in the mix. Now, the one thing about Brian Mendoza, of course, is the only fighter to actually beat Sebastian Fundora. So does Sebastian Fundora want to go again against Mendoza and try and avenge that loss? puts him in a good position. There's plenty of big fights though for Sebastian Fundora. One fight that obviously won't happen soon is his interim champion, Virgil Ortiz. He's fighting in, I think it's October against Lubin. And by all accounts, Boots Ennis is fighting Umas, I think it is, around the same time. And the talk is that they will fight in early 2026. So, geez, that fight's happened. That's probably one of the best fights in boxing, if you ask me. Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Boots Ennis. But that is the word coming from Eddie Hearn, not so much from Oscar, but definitely Eddie, is that they'll fight sort of a week or two apart at the end of the year and then fight in February next year in 2026. So, looking forward to that. The other one I saw, speaking of rankings, Keyshawn Davis is sort of petitioning to be put in as the number one challenger at 140 to fight Teofimo Lopez. Geez, that would be a ripper, wouldn't it? I'm not sure how it works with the rankings or the sanctioning body. Sometimes, this has been pointed out to me in the past, if you're a champion in one weight and you go up, you become the number one challenger straight away. I'm not sure how it works with Keyshawn Davis because he was actually stripped of the title for not making weight. So I'm not sure what will happen there. But geez, him in there with Teofimo Lopez, what a fight that would be. He's had a bit of a rough year, Keyshawn Davis, hasn't he? Well, it started good when he won the title, and then that was against Baranchuk or whatever his name was, the Ukrainian. Then he missed weight, and then he was involved with a fight in the change rooms afterwards and everything like that. After I think the fighter that he was sort of in a altercation with, it just beating his brother. So been a bit of a tough year for Keyshawn Davis, but hey, look, he brought it upon himself, so you reap what you sow. But if he is installed at number one at 140 with the WBO, Teofimo Lopez would be a ripper fight, wouldn't it? It would be awesome. Now, one last thing, guys. That's probably not a great thing. Japanese boxing looks like it is in a little bit of trouble at the moment. We've all seen the issues with the deaths in the ring lately, while the Secretary General, I think, of the Japanese Boxing Commission has said that there is pressure, like real pressure on them as far as Japanese boxing goes. And he said, could it happen that boxing is banned in Japan? It's just unthinkable, but he said it's a real possibility based on those deaths recently, especially the two deaths on the same card. Was it a month or so ago? So he's been now tasked with trying to improve boxing in Japan, and obviously the biggest one what seems to be the biggest problems there is that it's the drastic weight cuts that they do. Apparently it's just to go over there that you fight obviously a lot lighter than what you're naturally supposed to, and they really kill themselves to make the weight, and very quickly in the last minute sort of stuff, which doesn't help. There's talks that there'll be urine tests to see how dehydrated the fighters are, all this sort of stuff. Look, I think it's all good in theory, but I think it would be extremely hard to police, to try and get all the fighters and trainers and everyone to sort of sign up to this sort of thing of what they're trying to do. Because, they have no idea what some fighters get up to. Some of the horrific things I've seen when I was fighting was just crazy. So I'm not sure they'd have any idea what fighters got up to, and they will continue to do it. I think what this is unfortunately going to take, well, not unfortunately, but is that they try and sort of change the culture of the way the Japanese fighters think, and hope that the teams and the fighters and everyone actually buy into trying to be safer with the way they go about it, and going up a division if they need to, or two divisions or whatever it might be. That's the only way I think this works out. I'm not sure policing urine tests and trying to crack down on last minute weight cuts, because they just won't be able to police it. There's no way they'll be able to keep a track of it. So maybe it's more education, maybe it's more, I don't know. It's a very, very tough thing to sort of sit down and go, all right, how do we make boxing safer? There's the obvious ones, gloves and rounds and, the length of fights and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think that's the answer. I just think it's just, as I said, trying to change the culture of Japanese boxing and say, look, if this is, if you're walking around at a certain weight, this is your recommended weight. and try and get everyone to buy in. But it's a tough gig to try and change 100 years of tradition over there and their warrior mentality and everything like that. So let's just hope it doesn't come to that where there is real pressure from the government to actually ban boxing. Imagine boxing being banned in Japan. It's just, as I said, unthinkable. Now, you might say, well, fighters can just fight overseas. What's the big deal? But it's not that easy. I mean, the stars of Japanese boxing will probably have no dramas. They'll continue to get big fights overseas. But how does it work with getting, you know, amateur fighters off the ground? How does it work with, you know, those four-round fighters trying to get a break, trying to get on cards? I mean, it just won't happen. So it's a tough one. So let's hope they work it out. We need boxing to flourish in all countries, and Japanese boxing is one of the most sort of revered boxing countries in the world. So let's hope they, as I said, they can work it out. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. We're almost home, thankfully. I'm going to try and get inside and out of this weather. It's just starting to spit now, so hopefully it doesn't get too heavy before I get home. But guys, have a great Wednesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.